I'm Jeff Ward, and the only agenda here is to make you think. Former New Jersey governor and current presidential candidate Christie is being fat-shamed, and it's not fair. He's being fat-shamed again, and it's not fair again. The guy we should all relate to the most has become nothing more than a sparring partner for Donald Trump. We're not voting for the most qualified candidate. Can we own this at least? We vote against the one we don't like. So let's own this. The voting process in our minds goes like this. We don't vote for something, we vote against someone. The presidential race is a simple process. We've made it a simple process, and it is not him or not her. That's what it's become. Joe Biden is in the White House now and might be again for three reasons. He's white, he's old, and most importantly, he's not Donald Trump. Donald Trump is not in the White House right now because he's Donald Trump. Christie, a qualified candidate, is not going to get the nomination for two reasons. Two pretty clear reasons. He's not Donald Trump, and he's fat. Now, why policy doesn't matter much at all, at some level, the voter does have to relate. Can we at least agree that if you just wipe out policy, which is true, we don't vote on policy, but being able to relate to the candidate you would think would matter most? But that's what makes Christie and his no chance of a nomination at all so bizarre. Joe Biden is a nice old white guy, and there's enough older voters who are fine with that. They relate to him. They want to relate to him. That's why he's in the office now. On the surface, think about this. This is how Trump is relatable. On the surface, Donald Trump has nothing in common. Nothing in common with his voting base. Everybody knows that. He's an Ivy League educated, New York rich guy that could care less about guns, rural America, or abortion. But what people can relate to is that Trump will tell everyone they don't like to F off. I like to say Trump is willing to be the middle finger for rural America, and that's all they want from him. So they may not be able to relate in other areas, but they can certainly relate to that, and he's happy to do it. So there's that. But Christie, I would argue, is more relatable than both Trump and Biden. Very much so, I would think. But he has no chance. None. He really is left to just spar with Donald Trump. Donald Trump and Joe Biden can barely complete a sentence, and if they do complete a sentence, you have no idea what they're saying. They're terrible communicators in a time when you would think communicating would be the most important thing. But Christie, though, is the best communicator in the field, by far. He's clear, he's direct, he's smart, he's got an impressive background, he's compelling, and more than anything else, he's the best trash talker in the race. So what's to not like? Why is the guy struggling so badly? He's fat. What else is it? He's fat. He's really fat. You're not going to vote for an extremely obese candidate, and it's unfair. I think we should all be uncomfortable with how we feel about him, because if he looked like someone else, are you sure we'd be saying he has no chance? He is, my opinion, the most relatable candidate in the race. And even when you take a look at us, most of us are fat, and he owns that he's fat. He talks about it. He's open about it. He's honest about it. Of all the finger pointing that goes on, think about this. For all the finger pointing that goes on during this political process, and we're not even started yet, the Christie fat shaming moment is the most relatable you'll see and hear in politics. This conversation of him being called fat by Donald Trump, somebody poking fun at him again, it's got to be the most relatable 2 minutes that you'll hear in all of politics. I can't believe at any moment during this clip, I just watch this and listen to this, everybody that's ever been fat shamed, anybody that's ever been bullied before could relate to this perfect moment for Christie. I mean, if you just wrap this up and show it to everyone, I'm having a hard time believing many of you would not relate to him and not say, you know what, good for you. Stood up for himself, He pushed back against the bullies, and he's brutally honest in saying things that most of us feel but are afraid to say.
Once Trump started hitting back at you on a number of fronts, he took aim at your weight. What was your reaction to that?
Oh, well, like he's some Adonis? I mean, please. Look, Howie, there are tens of millions of Americans out in your audience watching right now who, like me, have struggled with their weight. I continue to struggle. I continue to try to do better, and so do they. And what's that got to do with my competence for office? I ran the governorship of New Jersey for 8 years, I think in a very energetic, successful way. Responded to Hurricane Sandy, working 20 hours a day for weeks. I don't know what his point is. You know what it is? It's like a child. It's a bully on the schoolyard who teases you and makes fun of you. But here's my message to him. I don't care what he says about me, and I don't care what he thinks about me. And he should take a look in the mirror every once in a while. Maybe he dropped the weight thing off of his list of criticisms.
Okay, did he not pull it off? Can anyone honestly say you couldn't relate to the guy in that moment? He can trash talk with the best. He's doing what you have to do if you're going to run against Donald Trump. Look, he's not going to get the nomination. It is, no doubt about it, it is the party of Trump. And the party of Trump is the middle finger to rural America. That's what the party is. And there's no turning, doesn't seem to be any turning back. There is no nuance to it. You're not going to crack that now. It's rural America wanting to tell everybody else blank off. And Trump owns that part, and he does it really, really well. But if we're to talk about candidates and their ability to be relatable and their ability to communicate and their ability to seem like us, how is Chris Christie not us? How is it we can completely dismiss Chris Christie? Sure, he wants to talk trash to Trump, and that may offend a lot of people who want to support Trump, but he does it in such a relatable way. He's pushing back on the bully. Can't everyone relate? Isn't there something appealing about that? In a world of political fakes and everybody trying to be something they're not, you would think the guy that is being completely real would get some traction other than just fighting with Donald Trump.